Hey everybody, welcome back to the utterly pointless channel Siralim Ultimate Playlist. I promise you I have recorded probably 50 update videos. See, here I am stammering through it all. But what happened was I finally cleared Pariah as a specialization and got the perk, which actually is paying off nicely here and there. Just as a random surprise, I'll leave it that way if you don't like spoilers. So, after that, I went right to Druid because I was used to the 3 creature survival team setup, and it was good to have an extra creature and have additional abilities in the form of perks to boost that team. So, just very happy to have mastered Druid as well. It got me to the point that I was able to one-man it up to a boss, King Andrick, who is a cheese bag with his death minion. So I had a Thana, I believe, Malignant Storm combination. So there was very little that could touch it. I got that Thana right through at Realm Instability 5. Just was able to overcome a lot again until I hit that cheesy minion death, and that killed the creature on my team with, I think, the lowest health or something like that. So it was not cool at all. I have a royal team that I'm supporting right now. I do have to use Blood Mage. I've just tried to recycle the Goblet of Complaining to Royal and finally gave up. As you can see, it caused a good bit of a dip. Yeah, I can still sacrifice a lot of crystal and convert it to whatever I need essence for, really, besides filling that goblet. But that's really where I am. Nothing significant going on, just supporting the royal team with keys for Gate of the Gods. I've been making some inroads with them right now. This is my Blood Mage team, and I have based things on a little bit of barrier use. I've got fracture, stuff like that. I'll go ahead and pull up my royal team real quick and show you that. So when I first looked at royal, I was like, oh, I'm never ever going to be able to get anything good going, because essentially you have to pick your perks, or your anointments rather, from other specializations to cobble it into something fun. But after playing Pariah, I have appreciated just having no restrictions, and I've gotten decent teams together with good artifacts. And I do want to say, if you do start playing Royal and you can't get very many anointments from defeating gods, or bosses rather, just keep at it. You'll eventually be able to start surviving with, I would say, maybe 4 or 5 anointments, and from there you should be fine. If you can't really do well in Royal, just go to the Reliquary and get the stats up here with Synergy. So now that we're at the Reliquary, you can see that Synergy is way up. I unlocked as many relics as I could to get stat bonuses from them all, even when they weren't equipped. So this has just been a beautiful thing to have. I haven't even bothered lowering enemies' stats and stuff like that. So the main focus has been on attack damage, and I should level that up a little bit more with Asskicker. Let me just double check. And there we go. So that is the state of the union right now. I'll show you my team. And the Phase Champion is a really awesome creature. If you have a team that's reactive in any way, that fights back, this guy is worth its weight in gold here. because after a creature on the enemy side dies, your creatures get resurrected with 50% health. So the other thing that happens is when an enemy dies, the champion does cast Corpse Explosion, which helps to get your creatures back up and running. Quite often, Corpse Explosion just triggers itself a lot, and so sometimes when the enemy is fighting back and forth with you and causing your team to die, again, for whatever reason, the champion winds up often having the final say between Resilience Aura and Final Excretion, which you can get, I believe, from the Crazed Leper or Addled Leper, but it is one of them. Just take a look through for the Final Excretion trait if you're building anything. This trait has been worth its weight in gold, especially with Zonte and some aggressive spell casting, mass damage, stuff like that. So I also have 2 sirens here. They're wonderful in putting things to sleep. This one, when it attacks, it afflicts sleeping, and then the other siren that I have, when it's attacked, afflicts sleeping. And the good thing about Dream Touch is it also means that attacks never wake up enemies with sleeping, so you can do all sorts of higgledy-piggledy after that. I do have a Sapphire Drake here to finish off things with Improbable Catapult, so some of the plans that I have in this team do involve letting creatures sleep. I did have to get Wormhole here because there were just so many times that enemies got thrown down to the bottom of the timeline instead of taking a massive amount of damage from Healing Breath, which gets launched over. And with the anointments that I got, I do have Shadow Sickness and World Breaker, and also I really splurged here and put 3 anointments in from Shadowbringer, and that is where after your creatures damage an enemy, the enemy gets healed for 20% of the damage dealt. So may be a really worthless looking anointment for starters, but if you have Blighted on your enemies all the time, very nice to have. And that is pretty much it. Touch of Darkness does combo well with World Breaker, which does inflict 100% more damage from Blighted. And let me just get to the rest of the team here, and I'll also show the additional fun that we have here from Healing Breath and Improbable Catapult and Shadow Sickness, and that's Patience. So enemies take 50% more indirect damage for each turn. So with World Breaker already doing additional damage, that makes the Blighted that comes in and damages creatures usually more than 100% of their health. So it doesn't take long for this to really get filthy. And then quad hits, this just lets the siren put a lot of things to sleep, or try to. There are some resistant creatures, of course, but this is really nice in being able to mass bestow sleeping and then let your creatures just attack and finish them off, or cast Wormhole, which is a generous spell gem. So there's vigilance as well on this siren, so that means that every time an attack comes in, it will try to put the creature to sleep. And then also with Debacle, this is a little bit counterproductive and requires Wormhole to overcome the lack of Blighted damage that comes because creatures aren't taking their turns and getting that Healing Breath effect, usually, again, because they're stuck and booted down usually by Asskicker here. So it is a build that has a little bit of intricacy to it, but I do prefer to keep Debacle here. It just really shuts down offense quite a bit. So very good to have when enemies are just struggling at the bottom of the timeline, not even able to really attack at all or do their other nefarious deeds. One of the other creatures that I love using Improbable Catapult with is a Caustic Cerberus who can't cast spells, and when he launches all that over to the enemy side, just giving every creature on that side that trait, it's like, hey, you can't cast. You're just gonna sit there and attack me? Big deal. Because I've found that attacks just wind up in this game being a little bit underpowered in general compared to spellcasting. But that may just be me. I mean, there are lots of traits that do enhance it, but I've just found that dumbing down a team and shutting off all their spells, again, is the bigger help. So we've got a Leech Devourer here, and this creature will gain a lot of life, maximum health. It'll heal quite a bit, and with Bloodseeker, the relic, that will cause a distribution of max health to everybody else. I do have explosive armor as a perk as well. So creatures just wind up being really well protected over time. They don't get buffed too much. I do have Archangel's Blessing right here, and what that does is grant 30% health and a random buff. So I'm starting to overcome the lack of buffs that marks one of my fights. I just tend not to use my creatures with buffs just because I don't have any traits that really support those buffs as well, because you can kind of get secondary levels of buffness if you choose to. I just find that the generic everyday buffs that get bestowed are a little nice to have, but they don't wind up being game breakers, much like Shadow Sickness and World Breaker. So there just isn't a focus on getting creatures to deal a lot of attack damage, which is sometimes the case, or additional spell damage. The buffs that I would really need in this would be defensive and just keeping creatures alive. So that is my take on buffing here. The 30% healing is very important, especially with this leech, and that will distribute, again, maximum health gained here to all other creatures here. So anyway, let's see. Yeah, let me just review the perk first. So this is very good for additional health coming undone after your creatures with leeching attack. They gain 10% attack, intelligence, defense, and speed. And I also have Hearty Appetite, so after your creatures gain attack, intelligence, defense, or speed, they gain 20% of that amount as maximum health as well. So whenever this guy attacks, he'll be getting all of his stats up, and then this will be a 4-time gain of attack, intelligence, defense, and speed right at once. So that's very sweet when it comes to granting additional health to all allies on the team. So don't even have the third trait addressed yet, because those two are really awesome and deserve a lot of extra mention. But Blood Weapon, while this creature already has leeching, I don't believe it already has mending from the relic. So the fact that this creature receives 100% more healing from all sources means a lot more max health for it, and then everything else, because it does wind up shunting off maximum health to other creatures to equal to 50% of that amount. So again, just a good creature for overcoming a lot of really heavy incoming cheese before enemies get that massive amount of blight damage to kill them. And for the 5th creature, and if you do play as Pariah, you'll, I promise, be appreciating every single extra creature that you have after 3. This is the Nisha Cherub. When it provokes, its barrier shatters, dealing damage equal to 50% of its potency, and healing your creatures for the same amount. So with explosive armor, you can defend and get a barrier set up, and then this will cause max health for everybody because that healing goes right to the leech right here. So that's sweet. Midnight Feast. After this creature kills a creature, it recovers 100% health and takes another turn. And so a little bit of survivability here. And also does help it, if it does provoke and shatter its barrier, the extra turn can help it defend and get explosive armor, a barrier on that turn. So just helps keep the damage coming and the healing. So third one is Heated Ichor, and that's where if it doesn't take damage from attacks or spells between each of its turns, it deals damage to enemies equal to 50% of its current health. So with it healing, especially with trait 2, that winds up being pretty nice. Of course, you do have to have it not take damage as well, but that's where the barrier does help keep this creature protected in those times that its max health is really getting big, and it's worth more to just keep it undamaged than to lose and blow up the barrier. And for the final creature I got here, the good old Sapphire Drake, which I've mentioned before and always, and forgive me for that, but it is really a game breaker, I found. Just deals damage equal to a creature's health, give or take, usually a lot more, with World Breaker as an anointment. So, and this also does heal one of your creatures for 150% of its health. So if this creature winds up being one of the lucky recipients, that is, let me see, with 100% extra healing, that would be, let's see, so yeah, that would be about, let's see, I think should be 6% of the amount healed. So and let's see, and there's where it always has mending anyway, so the additional trait that it has, Blood Weapon, winds up being redundant there. Oh, and rank 70 winds up giving it more max health from stat increasing effects as well. So that would bring it up to, let's see, 6% with the additional max health, and then 100% extra healing. So I would think that would give it 12% extra health on a healing breath heal. So that would be, I think, 6%. I know that there are always so many peripheral extra things going on in battle, but I think that is it. I do believe that a heal from healing breath would be, oh, actually there is that 150% of health, so that would be more like what, 18%. Let me see, and this is where you kind of have to focus on things and see how much exactly you can get out of a lot of combos, because you have a lot of combos to contend with each other, and you only have so much space on your team. But let me think. So if this creature gets 100% extra healing, that would be 300% of max health, and then let's see. Actually, it would be even higher because it would be 150%. It would be 350, and then it would be 700%, right? Because you've got 150 times 2. Oh, times 2. Oh, it would be 600, excuse me. So 600% of health as healing, which makes, let's see, 3% of that. So let's see. So yeah, if 1% is 600, 1% of 600 is 6, and then there's 3% total that's given out to allies. That would make it, 18% of max health given out to allies. And so that's pretty amazing. And let me just check the creature sheet here. Its intelligence is up. It should be health, I think, for this one. I really don't care that much about using any kind of non-damage related stuff. So I will go ahead and do a little bit of fine-tuning and get the spell leak as generous. I've got enough for that. Whoops. So yeah, when you're building your team, you always want to make sure that you have every single possible bit of generous put in on your spell gems. So let me just double check from the start here. So I know this winds up being a whole big random discourse here on building your team. So I found that attacking sometimes when you've got cursed on you is not helpful when your spell gem makes you attack. So that's something I am not dealing with in checking all these gems here. So generous, just absolutely make use of that. Generous is 99% an enchantment that you want to put on your spell gems, because you want to have all your creatures have oodles of options here. I cannot sing its praises high enough as a game player and somebody who has not had allies be able to cast the same spells as the spellcaster. So generous is just a beautiful enchantment. I know that I am going off a little bit extra here on this. I just wanted to give you guys a full update as to what I'm playing right now and let you know I appreciate your having listened to my other tutorials. So let's give these guys a little scrap here. We'll see what I can do. All right, this will be a hit or miss. So I'm hoping to get Holy Blast and Warp Reality on here. I'll be relying on speed again. That was enhanced from the Reliquary. You saw that stats got boosted a little bit more. So usually one of my creatures, especially the Sapphire Drake with its surprise trait, will start first. So there we go with Holy Blast. And an Alpha just took her turn and killed the leftmost creature. So what I'm going to do is just use Warp Reality, blow her out of the water, and that lets me bring back creatures here. So I will use Provoke and destroy the barrier, deal a lot of damage. And I'm going to just put Wormhole on the Nisha Cherub again, and let me Just inspect its traits here to see. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can use Heated Ichor and have it deal more damage. I'm just going to see if I can use Wormhole here to bring it back up and see if it actually deals damage. Yep, there, I saw Heated Ichor trigger, so if you do have an undamaged creature that has Heated Ichor, you can coax some additional damage out from using Wormhole and just making it take its turn without any kind of extra damage. So there we are. I'm not dealing much damage here with regular attacks. I'm just waiting for this creature to take damage from Blighted, or I can use Fracture and blow up a barrier here. But again, most of the damage coming through will be from using Wormhole here to force it to its turn. And there you go. So that's another god defeated. I'll run down and use my other keys up, see if I can get a couple more in this update for you guys. I appreciate your patience here. Apocrynox is a bit of a jerk, and so is Alexandria, but what I'm going to do is just try to nip this in the bud here with her ridiculous stat gains. I don't have Disc of Creation. Probably should, but I have found that Blighted and Healing Breath and Improbable Catapult usually make it unnecessary. So let's get that Holy Blast on Alexandria here. And as you can see, these annoying stat boosts are coming up. Yeah, this is getting a little daunting here. But there we go. Blight has already killed one of these super buffed creatures. Actually, two of them. There goes number 3. And here comes Warp Reality. Boom. There we go. We got just one creature left. I'm going to use Wormhole. Show you how quickly that can destroy an enemy. And there we go. Another rank 10 god defeated. So just use up the last key. I think Isaros isn't that bad, but let's see. I'll play it safe and just get rid of Vulcanar. He's what I call one of the meathead gods. Okay, so I will just get Holy Blast on him, just keep on working on him because Blighted hopefully should be working on the rest. I'm going to use Desperate Sacrifice here, get some creatures back up, and there we go. There's Warp Reality. Boom, he's dead, coming back. I'm just going to use Holy Blast again. Actually, I'll just use Archangel's Blessing. I'll show you some of the life gain here that should be happening. And in this fight, it's going to be... Didn't see much life gain there. But, yeah, we'll just go with Holy Blast, get rid of his sidekick, and make it a fight here against Vulcanar. Just keep on putting those Holy Blasts on as you can. And he'll just be popping up like a little dummy here, but he's almost beaten. So as you can see, Generous is letting me use Holy Blast and Warp Reality with each creature that I got. So I am going to be running out shortly, but... Oops, yeah, there we go. I'll seal all his gems, so he'll just be a lump of meat right there. Use Guardian Force here, and that should give everybody a barrier, I think, but I'll just keep using Holy Blast where I can. I'll use Guardian Force as well. I don't know why that isn't triggering explosive armor. I think it might have to be manually done or whatever. That's just the way explosive armor works. Let me just get the details here on explosive armor. Oh, I don't even have any equipped. Oh my gosh. So after your creatures defend, they gain 10% defense and a barrier that absorbs the same amount of defense. If the creature already has a barrier, it explodes, dealing damage to enemies equal to 50% of the barrier strength. Gosh, yeah, let me go ahead and fine-tune that. War's Victory. So yeah, I've got a lot of retribution type things here. So you always want to keep fine-tuning. Momentum, Evoker, Spell Power. So that's for Corpse Explosion and Final Excretion. Your creature's attacks can't be dodged, and more damage is done with them. I'm actually going to take that off just because there is not that much damage really being dealt. I just want things to be put to sleep, so I'll go ahead back to Siege Master and use explosive armor. So that is it for now, guys. Anyway, our team works pretty well here. My team, pardon me. You deal with so many creatures, you start seeing we. But anyway, that is it for now. Thank you for watching. I hope that was a decent catch up to what I've been doing. Thank you.